that, like, if you need a solid notebook that's older, you can definitely get an old Lenovo, like that's 8 to 10 years old, and be good to go. This would even be a good computer for kids who are in quarantine. They want to watch content on YouTube. You don't have to go buy a $600 tablet, $500 tablet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this is the edge of extinction. This computer, this is a Lenovo ThinkPad Edge 14. And let me go ahead and open it up. As you can see, it is plugged into the wall because the battery no longer holds any sort of charge. So it has a first gen Core i3 M380 processor. It's like 2.5 gigahertz. So it's good. As you can see, it has the 2 speaker holes, one here, one there. It does have the quintessential 7200 RPM hard drive. And it does have Windows 10 Pro, but this has 4 gigs of RAM. The hard drive's 320 gigabytes. So this is old school. But I would say this is the oldest that I would go on a laptop. I mean, this is 10 years old. I wouldn't really do this, but like anything prior to this, you might as well use your smartphone. So this computer has a 720p display. Booting up right now. It boots up relatively quickly. Not right now. I mean, I just did some updates, but it's good for what it is. I mean, you can use the internet on it. It does not have backlit keyboard, so that's a negative. And it does have 4 buttons, mouse buttons, and I think those are just like unnecessary redundancies. Or these 2 are an unnecessary redundancy. These 2 buttons right here, sorry. The trackpad is gone. I mean, this still functions, but it's gone. But anyway, I picked up this computer for $65 on Craigslist. I think he had it for $70. And so if you were in a jam and you really needed a cheap computer to get some schoolwork done, to be able to get on the web, and you can watch YouTube videos on this computer, so it is functional. But I think you have to be careful with older laptops, because sometimes architecture makes a difference. Like, you can hear 2.5 gigahertz, but this 2.5 is different from like the 2.5 on my laptop, even though they're both dual core. Like, architecture makes a huge difference, and there are updates and flashes that you can apply, but you know, at 10 years old, you're really not going to get much. I wanted to get it just to see kind of what it was like, and it was cheap. So it does have a serial port, and it does have actually a full-size Ethernet port. A lot of new computers, if they have them at all, there's a little kind of hanging thing that you pull down so it can accept the cable. It does have HDMI, so this computer was released as kind of a business/consumer line, because if you know anything about ThinkPads, they did not carry HDMIs, you know, for a while. And this is a USB 2.0 port, as is, as are these 2 ports. And so it does have a DVD drive. Windows updates suck, no matter if you have a 2010 or 2020 laptop, they suck. But anyway, this is the bottom. Pretty standard affair down here. I mean, you can take these off and kind of upgrade. I don't know what you could do with the RAM. You could probably update it to 8 gigs. I'll have to look. I'll put that on the screen. But the screen on this laptop looks really good. I mean, it's not my camera enhancing it at all, and it's, you know, it's pretty good. Alright, guys and gals, and so part of the reason for me making this video is just to kind of go against the grain a little bit, and to tell you, don't believe the hype. A lot of times you're on YouTube and elsewhere, and you see all these reviews on new computers, and you think if your computer's 2 or 3 years old, you're going to get left behind, but that's not the case. You know, when you compare things side by side, there's a lot of times you can see greater discrepancies, but even on an old notebook like this, I mean, if you needed something, you were in a pinch, like for some reason you needed an Ethernet port and your computer doesn't have one and you were stuck, you could pick this up for under $100. And with Lenovo, you know it's going to be quality. Now, yes, the little rubber stoppers are gone, but the main things are great. So the screen is really good on this laptop. It's only 720p, but it's really good. The processor is solid. You know, I was talking about architecture, but the concern with this computer really back in the day was just power. It's power hungry. You know, this isn't like a low voltage processor. So in that regards, it would drain the battery faster if the battery were actually decent, but it's not. But on a computer like this, I mean, if you keep it plugged in, you're not really going to be toting this around anyway. So if you keep it plugged in, you'll be fine. The speakers are okay. They're tinny like any other laptop speaker. I'm not going to play them. But it does have a microphone, and it does have a HD webcam. So it's a solid machine. Like, you can reach back on a Lenovo, get something really old. I would probably put an SSD in this, but if you're in a pinch and you're not going to really do anything with this, you could leave this hard drive. It's just weird feeling, you know, kind of the spinning of the hard drive here, whirring around. But it's a 7,200 RPM hard drive, so it's not slow. And then it does have Wi-Fi, has AGN Wi-Fi, so you're not going to be left behind with that. I guess the main point with this laptop is that, like, if you need a solid notebook that's older, you can definitely get an old Lenovo, like that's 8 to 10 years old, and be good to go. This would even be a good computer for kids who are in quarantine. They want to watch content on YouTube. You can set parameters on your Chrome and just have them watch away. It's plugged in. You don't have to go buy a $600 tablet, $500 tablet. And just with Lenovo, you know it's going to be quality. So like on this, the keyboard is great. When I rest my hands on the palm rest, there's not a ton of flex. I know in a lot of old laptops, they kind of like, when you rest your hands on them, you can kind of feel them sink in. That's not the case with Lenovo. So the buttons feel very tactile still. Power button's good. The CD-ROM tray pops out when you press the button. It actually does. And it works well. So the components on this computer are older, but they work well. So it's a solid value to look at if you're in a pinch or you need something cheap and basic. The Edge 14 is worth looking at. Alright, so if anybody was wondering why I didn't have the computer on a desk, it's because this is my current work from home setup. So yeah, kind of took over everything. Didn't expect to be here 4 months ago, so it is what it is.